Yo, what's going on? It's Big Dev, and we're back again with another MLB The Show 23 Diamond Dynasty guide video. Today we're going to be going over our pitching interface, what interface we like to use, and a quick tutorial on that interface. Even post-patch, I know a lot of people are using pinpoint pitching still after the new patch made it more accurate. However, I still think that this other pitching interface is better to be using and it is more accurate. So let's get into the video. I don't want to gatekeep. Let's show you right now, and here we go. Alright guys, so over here in custom practice, I'm going to show you guys. This is pinpoint if you don't know. A lot of people use this interface. I'm not going to give you a tutorial on it because I don't really use it that much. Basically, you just draw the pattern that pops up on screen for your pitch, and you try to match the speed and everything like that. It's pretty common. If you play MLB The Show, you pretty much already know how to use this. Since MLB 21 came out, it's been the meta. Before MLB 21 came out, the interface that I'm about to show you was the meta, and I feel that this year it's the meta again. Even after the patch they released, the Game 3 update. They released the Game 3 update for pinpoint pitching that made it more accurate. Before, pinpoint pitching was not accurate at all. It was not going where it was supposed to. You would get perfect perfects. The ball was going like on the edge of the par. So like this is the par right here. See that gray circle around the ball? That par. So for instance, if I throw a perfect here, right? I would assume that the ball would be going towards the center of the par, right? The center of that gray circle. However, before the patch, the ball was more likely to hit, it seemed, the edge of the circle or wherever it wanted to go based on RNG in touching that circle. The ball didn't even have to be in the center if you hit it perfect. It could be all the way over on the edge of the circle, you know, out of the zone. So you're trying to dot with the curveball not working because the par, the way they set it up this year for pinpoint is it's just not as accurate as it should be, especially on perfect inputs. I'm going to throw a pitch right here just to see if we can get an example. See, look, boom. Like that to me, like that's better than it was before the patch. But like I just threw 100% perfect, like with perfect time, perfect accuracy. I feel like the ball should not be up to RNG. It should be at least in the strike zone if I want it to be in the strike zone. You know what I mean? So that's why I think pinpoint's just not as good this year. And I know we threw a curveball and the par is more variable. Like for fastballs, the par is smaller because he has more control on that pitch and it's going to be easier to hit our spots. But again, I just don't think pinpoint is the move this year, even after the latest patch. If they patch it again, it could become meta, you know? I'll update the video when that happens, but they patched it based on my experience with both pinpoint and the other pitching interface I'm going to show you. The other pitching interface is just better. So let's get into that pitching interface right now, and I'll give you a tutorial, a rundown, everything you need to know about this interface and why you should be using it. Okay, so if you go into your settings, your pitching settings on the control tab, and you tab over to defense, so we have it on pinpoint right now. I'm going to put it on pure analog. Now, pure analog was the meta for years before pinpoint got introduced in MLB The Show 21. So pure analog was what all the top players were using, but then pinpoint came out and pinpoint was amazing. Like it was super accurate in MLB 21. In fact, it was so accurate they had to nerf it, I think in MLB 21. Because people were just super dotting with it. They also had to expand the amount of the PCI goes out of the zone because of how good pinpoint was. Honestly, you could dot corners like crazy. Your PCI just couldn't get to the ball. So pinpoint, like I said, was great. But when MLB Show 23 came out, they did something. They changed something to where it's more RNG involved on where the pitch goes than actual like inputted skills. So this is why I'm using pure analog. I'll show you an example right now. Okay, so we're back in custom practice. Here is how it's going to look on your screen when you use pure analog. So you select the circle change, right? You no longer have to draw the pattern of the pitch. Basically, you just have to pull the analog stick down and then press it back up. So what happens is you pull it down, it starts the animation, and you press it back up, right? So I was late there. So for instance, I'm going to try to explain this the best I can. Throw a circle change, right? See that yellow line? Okay, when you start your pitch, the white line below the ball, you basically want that white line below the ball to be inside the yellow line to get a good release on your pitch. Now, for instance, analog is less punishing on timing, but more punishing on accuracy on how you pitch. So for instance, like if you're late here, watch. So if I'm late, right? I'm just late. The pitch, it wasn't too bad. Like it didn't punish me so bad. Like it didn't float the pitch over the middle. Like with pinpoint, it feels like if you're late and you're not getting your perfects on your pitch releases, the ball's going to go wherever. Like it's going to float that changeup over the middle. It's going to get crushed. That's happened to me more often than not. But with pinpoint, or I'm sorry, with analog, the timing doesn't matter as much as it does the accuracy of when you push the stick back up. So when you push that stick back up, you want to focus your stick towards the target on the home plate icon. So for instance, if I'm throwing this changeup, right, I'm going to pull down and then I'm going to push up and slightly to the left. I missed my spot. But you see that? I was just late. I missed my spot, but it was still a decent pitch because I was kind of close. You know what I mean? So like, we'll go fastball here. I'll show you, kind of try to paint it here. So basically with this, you're going to pull your right analog stick down, wait till it gets in the zone. Boom. Good. We missed our spot left. So you see, we didn't dot that pitch. It missed the zone to the left or to the right, basically, because we're flipped here. But basically, we missed our spot. So because we didn't accurately push the stick up and it went left of the target, we missed that way. You know what I mean? But with pinpoint, it feels like if you miss your timing, if you miss your timing and you miss, like, but even if, like, say you pulled the stick down the correct direction, but you misdid your timing, the ball could still float over the middle. That's just what I've noticed. But with analog, that doesn't really happen. The only time the ball's going to float over the middle is, like, for instance, I throw a slider here, right? I'm supposed to hit this low and away, right? So you see I got to push it up towards that target. Let's say I push it up right up the middle instead, or this way. See? It floated over the middle because it was my fault, not because of RNG. I pushed the stick to the wrong side instead of pushing it towards the target, and the slider floated over the middle of the plate. So again, we'll throw that slider again, and we'll try to get an actual good pitch here. Just late. Boom. Like, I missed the target, so it caught more of the plate. Like, that's on me. If you can master this, if you can master being able to hit that target and being able to get your timing down, you're going to dot with analog way more than you will with pinpoint. For instance, like, I mean, let's just throw a circle change, right? Again, throwing a circle change, try to get it good timing here. Good timing right there. Boom. Look at that. That's literally a dot, guys. Like, I didn't even hit the target fully, but it was still a really, really good pitch and a really good dot. Like, fastball, up and in. See if we can get a good pitch here. Good. Like, look, like, that is a great pitch. Like, I didn't hit my spot because, again, I missed the target, and that's on me. But it's not on some random RNG, like pinpoint, when you get a perfect, but the ball somehow still floats to the edge of the par, and you walk a batter because you're trying to dot, or it floats over the middle of the plate because it's hitting the edge of the par. Like, that's not happening with analog in my experience. Like, anytime analog pitches gets messed up, or I miss with analog, it's on me, right? So that's down the middle. Like, I didn't push the stick towards the target. I did that on purpose to show you guys. Like, I pushed the stick straight up and down, and it went right down the middle like it was supposed to. I got good timing on it. It was the correct height, the pitch was, but because I missed that target, it went right down the middle. So that's another thing I want to tell you guys is with analog, what matters with timing, for instance, if you're late, right, the pitch goes lower than where you aimed it, okay? That's usually the case. So if you're late on a pitch, when you're using analog, it will go lower than where you aimed it. If you're early on that release, the pitch will go higher than you aimed it. So with analog, my tip for you guys would be either be good or late. Because for instance, with circle changes, right? Say you're trying to get a circle change low and you're early, okay? You're early. See, it hung up higher than it was supposed to go. So let's do that again. We'll try to throw it down the middle to show you guys a little bit more. So you're trying to get a circle change low in the zone, right? Say you throw early. It's hanging up. It's hanging up. I'm missing the plate because I'm missing the target. But again, when you're throwing early, the pitches hang. That's good though. So, I mean, that was a good, perfect pitch right there. But if you're throwing early, your pitches hang. So for analog, what I suggest is try your best not to be early, because a lot of times, like, off-speed pitches when you're early get crushed because they hang. So try to be just late or good on your releases for analog pitching. And again, I just think it's the better pitching interface right now. Like, look at that. It's literally, that went right where it was supposed to go. That was a perfect pitch. Like, we got the good release, and we put the the upswing, I guess you call it. We put it right on target. So we got the perfect release, and we put it right on target. Let's see if we can do it again. Another good, right there, a dot. We, like, slightly missed the target, but it was still a dot because we didn't miss it by much. So again, like, the pitches go where they're supposed to. They literally go where they're supposed to with this method. Again, there's early. See, right there, that's what I'm talking about with the early. You throw an early pitch, it's gonna hang. Excuse me. You throw that early, it's going to hang over the plate. It's going to hang up. Again, just late is where you want to be with analog, or obviously good. So good and late is kind of like the meta for analog pitching. Just don't be early, especially on your off-speed pitches, because if you're early on your off-speed pitches, they're going to get crushed. All right, let me get into the fundamentals of analog pitching. So let's start with the controller. With my controller, with Pinpoint, I don't use a control freak. But with analog, because you need more finite control over the analog stick when you press it back up towards the target, I do use a control freak when I'm using analog. So I'll put that back on here real quick. A lot of people use control freaks when they're using analog. I would recommend that you guys get some control freaks. I'm not sponsored by them, but I would recommend that you guys get some, because it's a little easier to control your pitches when you have the analog stick or the control freak on the analog stick. Just because, like I said, when you're pressing the analog stick up, like with Pinpoint, you don't need that finite control. All you need to do is draw a pattern. So the control freak doesn't really do anything for you. It actually can make it worse when you're using Pinpoint. But because with analog, you need that finite aim on where you put your analog stick, I would definitely use control freaks, because boom, right there, you can get more finite aim. Like it's kind of hard to just show you guys or describe, but like you're not like, when you're aiming your analog stick, right, let me show you, you're not like pushing it all the way over, right? You're not like pushing it up, you're doing it finite. So watch, I'll kind of show you guys real quick. I'll use a fastball here, up and in. See, the aim is on the edge of the plate. Let me see if I can show you. Like that was me pressing it kind of far all the way over like that, and I missed the spot. You know what I mean? So when you're using analog, you just have to practice with it to kind of figure out like how far you need to move your analog stick over in order to get a good release here. Basically, it's going to be obviously easier to control the upswing or the final push with your analog stick when you have pitchers with better control. So pitchers with better control, you're going to be able to hit that target more often. The timing is pretty much going to be the same every time. It just depends on, the pitcher's windup and if he's in the stretch or not. The only bad thing about analog pitching is if a pitcher loses confidence completely, that yellow timing bar completely disappears. So if a pitcher comes out of the bullpen and you give up back-to-back home runs and he has like no confidence whatsoever, that yellow line will disappear. In those cases, I either just take the pitcher out if I can, or I'll switch to Pinpoint for a couple batters, because the confidence doesn't really matter like that much with Pinpoint. Like obviously their PCI is going to be bigger and all those other factors, but you're still going to be able to pitch with Pinpoint. That's the only downside to analog, is the fact that if you lose confidence, that yellow line disappears, so you won't really know how to time your pitches. However, that doesn't really happen to me that often. I'm going to be honest with you guys. You have to really be giving up a lot of runs to completely lose that confidence meter. Okay, another thing about analog pitching, that yellow line gets fatter the more confidence your pitcher has. So if Garrett Cole is dealing and it's like the 6th inning, that yellow line is going to be a lot thicker. So it's going to be much, much easier to time up your pitches that way, because you're going to have more of a window to get a good or perfect release with analog pitching. So again, as the confidence grows with your pitcher, and realistically, just like in game, when your confidence is high, you're going to be pitching a lot better. You know what I mean? Just like in any sport. So it's going to be easier for you guys to get those perfect releases on analog. Let me just throw another pitch here. Just late. I mean, look at that. Like, we were just late, but we still hit our target, and it was kind of like a perfect pitch, like a dot. It wasn't a strike. If we had hit the target, it would have been a strike. You know what I mean? So, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. If you guys have any questions at all about analog pitching or switching over, please do not hesitate to ask in the comments. I respond to every comment. I'll answer any questions you guys have. But again, if you are struggling with Pinpoint, if you don't like the way it feels this year, switch to analog for a bit. Practice it. See if it's something that you guys want to use. If you guys want to, use it in ranked, I would use it online, because again, it's just more accurate. It's just more accurate. When you get it down, it is more accurate than Pinpoint this year. And that is even after the Game 3 update. If they release another patch for Pinpoint, I'll make another video and let you guys know, hey, analog's not the meta anymore, Pinpoint is. But for me right now, analog pitching is the meta, and I will see you guys in the next guide video. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope it helps you out, and I hope your rank record increases. Have a great day, guys. See ya.